My son invited a real estate agent to value my house while I was at my doctor's appointment and introduced himself as the owner. I have poured concrete for 40 years, and I have never once poured a foundation crooked on purpose. So you can imagine how it felt to find out my own son had been quietly trying to pour a foundation out from under me. My name is Walter Higgins. I am 63 years old, and I spent 38 of those years running steel crews on commercial job sites around Louisville, Kentucky. These days I'm retired, which mostly means I fix things around the house that were not broken until I decided to fix them. My wife, Donna, will tell you I have replaced a perfectly good garbage disposal twice this year alone. Donna and I have been married 38 years. We bought our house on Bardstown Road back in 2012, paid it off free and clear 6 years ago, and it is the only home our son Tyler has ever really known as his own. Tyler is 34 now, works in commercial real estate financing downtown, and up until a few months ago I would have told you he was the most responsible one in the family. Donna is 61, sharp as anything, and she has this habit of knowing something is wrong in a house before the house itself knows it. She taught third grade for 26 years before she retired, and she still corrects my grammar mid-sentence, which I find both maddening and, if I'm honest, a little bit charming after all this time. My best friend, Ray Delacroix, and I have known each other since we worked our first job site together in 1988. Ray retired 2 years before me from his own contracting business, and he calls me most mornings just to complain about his knees. I was 25 when Donna and I got married. Tyler came along 4 years later, so I was 29. That makes Tyler 34 now, which lines up clean. Nothing about our family timeline needed bending to make this story work, and I like it that way. About 6 months ago, Tyler and his wife invested most of their savings into a franchise restaurant on Frankfort Avenue. Some barbecue concept he was convinced would take off. It did not take off. By spring, it was hemorrhaging money, and Tyler stopped mentioning it at family dinners entirely, which for a man who used to talk your ear off about his business plans was itself a warning sign. Then, about 3 weeks before everything happened, Tyler started asking me strange little questions. Have you and Mom ever thought about downsizing? Wouldn't a smaller place be easier to maintain at your age? Don't you think this house is a lot of upkeep for 2 people? I laughed it off the first time. The second time, I told Donna about it, and she got quiet in a way that made me pay closer attention. I did not know what he was planning. I want to be honest about that. I was not suspicious of theft or fraud. I just thought my son was worried about us getting older, which, fair enough, is not the worst thing a son could be worried about. On the morning of June 9th, I had a 9:45 appointment with my cardiologist, Dr. Aronson, for routine stress test follow-up. Donna had a hair appointment the same morning, so the house was empty for about 2 hours. I did not think anything of it. We were gone plenty of mornings. What I did not know was that a real estate agent named Priya Okonkwo, who works at a firm on Frankfort Avenue, not far from Tyler's failed restaurant, showed up to our house at 10:15 that morning to walk through it, take photos, and run comparables. Tyler met her there. He let her in with a key he still had from years ago when he used to house sit for us. He introduced himself, according to what she told me later, as the homeowner, looking to list the property quietly before it hit the open market. Before Priya draws up any real paperwork on a house, she runs a title check through the county records, standard practice at her firm, for exactly this reason. It takes her about 20 minutes at her desk after a walkthrough. When she pulled the record that afternoon, the deed showed 2 names on it, Walter Higgins and Donna Higgins. Neither of them Tyler. The tax record on file listed a phone number for the property, the same landline Donna and I have had since 2012. Priya did not call Tyler back with questions. She called that number instead. At 2:40 that afternoon, while I was sitting in my recliner with a cup of coffee going cold on the side table and the television playing some rerun neither Donna nor I were actually watching, our landline rang. It was Priya. Priya, I wanted to go over a few details before finalizing anything on the listing. Walter, I'm not aware of any listing. There was a long pause on her end. Priya, are you Walter Higgins, the man listed on the deed for the property? Walter, yes. Priya, there's clearly been some kind of misunderstanding, and I need to make a call before I say anything further. And then she hung up rather than explain more over the phone. I did not yell. I did not even really feel angry yet. I just sat very still for a long time, holding the phone, running through who else had a key to that house and a reason to let a stranger in it while we were gone. My hands did not shake. They just went still, the way they do sometimes on a job site right before you realize a beam is not sitting where it should be. 20 minutes later, Priya called back and told me everything, including Tyler's name. I called Ray that evening. He picked up on a second ring, like he always does. Ray, Walter, you sound strange. What happened? I told him everything. The appointment, the agent, the listing, Tyler's key. Ray was quiet for a second. Ray, has Tyler said anything about that restaurant lately? Walter, not in weeks. Ray, that is your answer right there. Whatever mess he is in, he thought he could fix it before you noticed. That does not make it okay, Walter, but it might explain it. Walter, I know. Ray, you need to talk to a lawyer before you talk to him. Not because you're trying to hurt your own son, because you need to know exactly what did or did not happen before you say a word. The next morning, I called Renee Castellano, a real estate attorney Ray had used years back for a property dispute. Renee is somewhere in her 50s, talks fast, and has zero patience for nonsense, which is exactly what I needed. She pulled the deed from the Jefferson County Clerk's office within the hour to confirm what Priya had already told me. The house was still titled solely in my name and Donna's name. No transfer had been filed. No signature had been forged on anything recorded. Tyler had gotten as far as inviting an agent and misrepresenting himself verbally, but he had not yet committed himself to paper. Renee explained it to me plainly. What Tyler did was not yet a prosecutable fraud, since nothing had been filed with the county and no money had changed hands. But had he moved one step further, actually signing a listing agreement or attempting to transfer title, that would have opened him up to charges under Kentucky law for forgery and potentially theft by deception, both of which carry real prison time, depending on dollar amounts involved. He stopped just short of felony, whether he understood that or not, and only because Priya's own diligence caught it first. That Saturday, Tyler came by for what he thought was a normal visit. Donna made a pot of coffee and sat at the far end of the kitchen table, arms crossed, saying nothing. Tyler, settling into his chair, Dad, you seem off today. I set my phone on the table. I had Priya's number pulled up already. Walter, I know about the appraisal. Tyler's face did not change right away. Tyler, that's not what it sounds like. I was just getting a number for you as a favor. Walter, you told her you were the owner. That is not a favor, Tyler. That is a lie with my name attached to it. Tyler, voice rising. I was going to tell you before anything got signed. I needed to know what the house was worth before I lost my mind over the restaurant. Walter, so your plan was to sell my house without me knowing, and only tell me once it was already moving. Tyler, that's not fair. Walter, fair is a word you do not get to use right now. He tried a few more angles. He said the restaurant debt was worse than we knew. Nearly $91,000 owed to suppliers, and a business loan he had personally guaranteed. He said he panicked. He said he thought if the house sold quietly for something close to $410,000, which is what Priya's initial walkthrough had estimated, he could borrow against the sale to cover it and pay us back over time before we ever noticed a thing. Then I told him about Renee and about the title check and about exactly what would have happened to him legally had he gone one step further. I watched his face go still in a way I had never seen on him before. In the weeks that followed, Tyler had to call Priya himself and formally withdraw any interest in listing, in writing, with Renee copied on the email. Donna and I removed him from the power of attorney documents we had drawn up years earlier in case of emergencies. Renee helped us set up a trust that requires both our signatures for any future decisions involving the house. Tyler's wife, Meredith, found out everything the same week, and it strained their marriage badly enough that they spent 2 months in counseling before deciding to stay together. Tyler eventually sold his share of the restaurant to his business partner for $22,000, took a demotion at his financing firm to a lower stress role, and started paying off the supplier debt directly, without any help from us. He apologized to me properly in person about a month after everything came out. Not the excuse-laden apology from that Saturday, but a real one sitting across from me at this same kitchen table. I have not forgotten it, and Donna has not either. But we have let him back into our lives slowly, carefully, on our terms this time. As for me, I am fine. Better than fine, honestly. The house is still ours, fully ours, and nothing about that will ever be quiet or unclear again. That evening, weeks after it was all settled, Donna and I sat out on the back porch with actual dinner instead of the cold coffee kind. Ray came by uninvited, the way he always does when something matters, and dropped into the third chair like he'd been assigned to it years ago. "Ray, how are you holding up, Walter?" Walter, like a man who just found out his own foundation needed reinforcing. "But it is holding now." Donna reached over and swatted my arm. "Donna, that is the worst construction metaphor you have ever used. And I have heard every single one." Ray laughed, a real one. And for a while, the three of us just sat there while the porch light buzzed, and the evening went on being exactly as ordinary as it should have been.